What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, talking today about Scarlet Nexus, because this game is just incredibly good, but to be perfectly honest, I can't do a normal review about it, mostly because this game is enormous. An average playthrough of Scarlet Nexus is 80 to 100 hours long. There is just so many different side quests, facets, optional dating missions. Like, this game is just so big that I can't do one of my normal reviews where I beat everything about it. So what I wanted to do today instead is I just want to give some honest thoughts. I want to talk about why this game is so freaking fun. Even 20 hours into this experience, it is so freaking worth the price. So let's just break things down. Let's talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the sort of confusing aspects of Scarlet Nexus. Now, if you're enjoying this video, please press that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It actually helps these videos a lot to get a couple thousand likes. So what is Scarlet Nexus? There seems to be a lot of people just kind of lost as to what this project actually is. Well, if I had to use a single word to try and explain this game, I would definitely choose the word frantic, because everything in this is so freaking fast. From the combos we use to the times you're trying to jump off a building and stab some sort of gigantic plant monster, everything in this game is just so well tuned for speed above all else. But it doesn't mean it's overwhelming. Because of the toolkit we're given, from different magics to the crazy weapons we have, everything in this is fast but also extremely accessible. But what is it about? We're essentially taking on the role of these cybernetic psychic kids who are able to unlock these special abilities to fight off these monsters called the Others. Now, the Others themselves are well designed but incredibly freaky. They have weird mixes of natural and unnatural elements. You'll see a flower pot but with big ol' freaking lady legs, or just weird monsters inside of a dilapidated prison who seem to have a light bulb and electrical wires hanging out of them. Every single monster just seems like something straight out of a nightmare. But part of the reason that's so interesting to me is that the color palette in this game, as you could see, is so evocative of positiveness. Everything is just so bright and so beautiful to look at, while if you really zoom in on it, a lot of this monster design is really kind of deeply messed up when you think about it. But one of the things I like the most about this is just how freaking quick every single fight is. There is a ton of combat, obviously, since this game is nearly 100 hours long, but I spent so much time just slicing, dicing, and enjoying each of my different power sets. What's most important to note here is that each of the cadets in this academy, everybody basically has a different magic ability, from fire to air manipulation to teleportation, or even a guy who can turn his skin into stone. And then once you join this academy, the first test is that you basically have to connect your brain and your soul up to this machine. You sync yourself up with your squad, which means that during the course of these missions, everybody is fighting side by side, but you can actually borrow their psychic abilities for a short amount of time, making it where you can just for 20 seconds have the ability to teleport and get inside somebody's range and chop them up, or even use the teleportation to go through special bars, or even things where you can just take fire manipulation and burn those plant monsters I showed you earlier. Now, the guy we're playing as specifically has the ability of telekinesis. He can move objects with his mind, but we're not just talking about making pins wiggle or picking up a stapler on his desk. You can throw pretty much anything with just a thought. And it is epic. Now, what's really cool about this is that basically everything in this game is built around combos, trying to make sure that you're hacking, slashing, and dodging. But one of the things that's cool is that this ability to grab objects from the environment and throw them is woven into this combo system. So you can actually go up to somebody and press a bunch of light attacks to slash them up, do a gigantic circular heavy attack, and then instantly and fluidly pick up a freaking car and smack them in the back of the head. What I like about this is that not only does it work incredibly well, but it feels natural. If you grew up with telekinesis, if your entire life you had this ability to just move any object around you, of course it would be just as natural as breathing to grab something and smack an other in the face with it. And what's really crazy is that this feels so situational at times. You can use your telekinesis to pull down pieces of the the ceiling. You could rip bars out of the wall and impale your enemies. You are constantly finding different pieces of the environment to just whip as your next gigantic weapon, and I like this about it. But what's extra cool about this, and definitely the thing that got me the most intrigued about Scarlet Nexus, is that going into the upgrade tree, as you power level yourself, there is just so many different chances to upgrade the amount of hits to your combination, the amount of distance or mana it costs to do your telekinesis. The game kind of just gives you a toolkit and then expects you to figure it out, but that's what I like about it, is that it reminded me of like Devil May Cry, where you have weapons, but the abilities to upgrade them, the paths you choose to walk, are definitely up to you. Now, we've talked a lot about the goods, let me just get a bit into the bads. The one thing I didn't love about this, if I had to put a score on this game, which I can't because I haven't finished it yet, I'd probably give it a 9 or a 9.5 out of 10. The first 20 hours has been incredibly positive and honestly just incredibly freaking fun, but the problem is that at times the story is incredibly daunting. This is an old world. This has been a place that's clearly been at war with the others for a bit, and honestly there's so much stuff that just feels unexplained. There's just so much like mystery and allure, which is fun. It's nice that I can walk around in these weird environments with like cities on the ceiling and stuff, but nobody explains anything, so it makes it where there are times where everything starts to blur together for me a bit. Like some of these characters will sometimes list off 10 or 20 names of, alright, this guy is Kigurumi and Ichitaki, and this guy's over here, his name is like something else, and it makes it where because everybody has these gigantic backstories that are all just interwoven, so many of these people are like family members or long lost cousins or best friends from high school who used to be part of this ancient church. Like everything is just piled on. It kind of came off as daunting at times because the missions themselves are incredibly tight. It's take out a target, it's explore this area. Like the missions themselves are just so well built that going into these like 10-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute long cutscenes of what are practically very, very insane anime episodes, it was a lot of information to try and digest in a very short period of time, especially because this game has a very, very deep and very diverse optional dating communication system where in between the major missions there's these things called phases where you go back to like a safe house and you have a chance to basically have these optional conversations, talking to specific party members, replying to their text messages, or as I said before, going on dates, which raises their connections in battle. And this is cool, but it makes it where there's even more just layers of insane storyline. All of it's great, like I'm not gonna act like it's badly written, but it just feels like being introduced to Star Wars after there's 50 Star Wars movies. There's just so much information that I couldn't keep up. It's still a good game, and I'm not gonna act like this is a terrible idea, but it's one of those things where I feel like maybe you should play this game like 5 hours and then sit and stare at a wall and let your brain process all that data and then go back to the game itself. Playing this game 20 hours in a week, I feel like this was just so much going on that I probably am incomprehensible to a lot of it. Did I love my experience with Scarlet Nexus? Yes, I did. Do I think it's a bit weird and kind of up its own butt at times? Yes, absolutely I do, but I highly recommend it. If you can take this anime art style, if you're interested in something that is a fast and insane RPG, this game is definitely for you. But these have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts because honestly, I'm just having such a fun time with it. I kind of wanted to just talk about my time so far. But what do you think? Have you seen much of Scarlet Nexus? Does this look good to you? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. Oh my gosh, this game is just wild. I can't believe this even exists. God, I hope this actually gets some views. I hope people actually see this game because it definitely deserves some attention. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.